Yeah, and then what happens after that? Labor turnover.
Well, labor turnover, absolutely. And the youngest generations that are in the workplace now, they can do something else. They know they can make money selling something on Amazon or doing one of or AI. This is a whole new world that we're just
Exactly.
not. You know what? Those people, our precious workforce, doesn't have to
Yeah.
work for us.
Yes. I mean, some of them have two jobs.
Yeah, some of them do.
They work online.
Hmm.
So you can't, if you don't take care of them, they know how to take care of themselves.
Yeah,
They
well,
move
that
on.
and that
Yeah.
they that's it. They move on. They
They
get
move
away
on.
from you in order to take
Yeah.
care of themselves. Absolutely. You're so right about that.
So let's talk a little bit about emotional intelligence and what role it plays in effective leadership, and how do you develop it in yourself and others.
Well, I think the first step to all of that is the recognition that the absolute key to positive leadership is emotional intelligence. So that means developing a self-awareness. How does your body brain work? How do you work? How do you react to things? How do you react to people? Are you hard on people? Are you easy on people? Are you willing to give people the grace they need to perhaps fall down before they get up again and off and running? Are you, do you know enough about emotions? Most people don't, because most people now companies, as you say, are changing. So emotional intelligence is something that is getting into organizations now, and that's what positive leadership is emotional intelligence. So there's self-awareness, there are awareness of how we impact other people, and that's so important. Now, as a young leader, I don't know what happened to you when you were a young leader because you're much younger than I am, but I got to tell you, I was very unaware.
I was too.
Oh, were you too? I
Mhm.
woke up one day when my then 13-year-old daughter, I don't even want to tell you how old she is now. My then 13-year-old daughter was working in the office with me because we had all of these school vacations and days off and holidays. I didn't know what to do with her. I wasn't making enough money. So I'd bring her to work. And she was able to observe what happened between me and my staff. And one night, she talk about out of the mouth of babes. One night she said, "Mom, can't you see what's going on?" It's like, no. Why are they behaving that way? She said, "Because you're trying to be their friend. You're trying really hard. You want everybody to love you and you want everybody to be your friend. But this is a kid talking. But you can't be everybody's friend, Mom." And that was such a wake-up call for me. It was like, really?
Yes.
I thought, I was back then was such a people pleaser. That's kind of what I'd been taught to do.
Mhm.
So it was quite an evolution for me. And I think much of what I have learned about positive leadership, I learned from my own leadership evolution.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
believe it's a practice. I believe when you think of positive leadership as a practice, like a physician that has a practice, like a yoga teacher that has a practice. It's a practice. We keep practicing, getting better at it, going back to the mat, doing it again until we get better and better and better at it. So I think when we look at leadership as not there's it's not an end game. It's something that's constantly working you.
Yeah. So continuum.
It's a continuum and the other side of that is the awareness of the other. And how good are you at being a relationship manager? That's the
Yeah.
other side of emotional intelligence. And I think we're really, 87% of our ability to lead comes from our emotional intelligence. I think it's 87. If it's not 87, it's 67. It's my brain playing tricks on me. It's a way big number of what we need to lead comes from our emotional intelligence. So invest the time that you can in training your team to be more emotionally intelligent.
Yeah. It's really interesting, uh, to know that people don't really have to love their leaders.
No,
No, you
no.
just have to do what is right
What?
for the employees and for the organization. And you can do that without being loved.
Yes, you can. I think you need to be respected, though.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
respect is an important part of it. You don't need to love them. I agree. Now it's nice if you do.
Yes. As long as you don't bend rules, you
Ah,
know, as
gotcha.
long as you are fair.
Well, fair is very, very important. I got to tell you. Fair is very, very important because that's a word I hear a lot. And I think if employees believe that you're fair, they'll do almost anything for you.
Exactly.
What I do know is that the younger the employee, the less of a chance they're going to give you.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. I do. I was doing a keynote speech last year and I had a gigantic audience. It was the pools, the spa and pool show. And so I had all kinds of people, all kinds of age groups, and we were talking about uh, how a leader responds when somebody comes to that leader with an idea. And
Yeah.
is the leader open to hearing employees' ideas? Are they willing to hear what the employee has to say, et cetera, et cetera? So we're talking about that. And I asked the audience, I said, well, we've got quite a mixture of ages here. So let's have a couple of opinions from the younger people. How many times will you raise your hand with an idea before you stop contributing if you don't get attention, if you don't get somebody that's going to pay attention to what you're saying? And it used to be two or three.
Wow.
One.
Mm.
That's what I have. And I interviewed her afterwards, so I actually have it on film. Uh, yeah, she was going, no, no. My expectation is when I come and work for someone that they are interested in what I have to say. And if they're not interested in what I have to say, I don't want to work there. And I think that sums it up quite a bit. Now, as the economy worsens, because you are going to notice things happening here, as the economy worsens, and it will, um, I don't think they'll be so quick to leave.
Yeah.
Not as quick, not as quick. So I think we're going to be reining them in just a little bit in the sense that they're going to have to change their expectations unless they're willing to leave. And some families need medical insurance. Some families need one wage earner that has
Mhm.
all the benefits. And
Yeah.
you typically don't find that in little entrepreneurial companies or side hustles.
Yeah, that is true.
So
Yeah.
if you've got one partner, let's say, that is holding on to a job because of the benefits.
Right. 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 Okay. Let's talk about conflicts. How do you handle conflicts or difficult conversations with customers or employees? And what lessons have you learned from these experiences?
Mm,
You can share an experience if you
that's a
will.
heck of a question. I'll have to search back there and see if I have an experience to share. Um, I like to have a different view of conflict. I like to look at conflict as an opportunity,
Right.
as that's opening a door to someone else's point of view who could have something to offer that you don't.
Okay.
So I think that's the first step is what is our belief system about conflict? If we're afraid of conflict, because we've had experiences in our lives that have shown us that when there's conflict, there's pain or there's division or, that kind of a thing, then we might not be willing to go into a conflict situation. So I think how we feel about conflict has to do with how we've dealt with conflict in the past and what kind of belief systems we have developed based on that. Conflict is actually good. It opens up a space. And very often in the open space, we can find some creativity. We can find an idea that wouldn't have come up any other way. And I like to use some of the metaphors that come out of the martial arts, actually, because one of my teachers had studied Aikido extensively. And so some of my learning, my listening came from the art of, get out of the way, let the energy go past you. And in the art of Aikido, it's more of a letting go and letting the energy
Yeah.
go. So then you can flip the guy over. But it's not an attack mode. So because of my background and the metaphors that I choose to use, as you know, in the customer care coach program, um, that I think that when we open ourselves up to let's go with the flow of what the conflict is opening up for us, I think we
Okay.
have I think we have the opportunity to get creative, to learn more, and to expand.
Right. It's good to know that we shouldn't be afraid of conflicts. That
No, I don't think
conflicts,
no, I don't think we should be afraid of it at all.
yeah,
But we depend, it all goes back to what happened in the first 7 years of your life, no matter what. If
yeah,
we became afraid of conflict very young, if we went to the kind of school, where like I went to school back in the days where I went to Catholic school and they walked around. I want to see if I have a ruler around. Don't have one right now. They walked around with a ruler. They didn't like what you said. They smacked you on the knuckles, on the
yeah.
knuckles. Yeah, I don't even want to talk about some of the stuff they did, you know, but it's true. So you become afraid of conflict because if you spoke up at an early age and you were put down and somebody said to you, that was a stupid question, you're going to speak up again? Now, I'm
Yeah,
dumb
you
enough
will.
to maybe speak up for 2 times or 3 times,
Yeah.
but now that, like that young lady told me, no, no. Now I'm hoping that people have a little bit more grace than that and that they don't run away the first time things don't go their way.
Right. Yeah.
But I do think we really have to um, just create a belief system around how conflict can be a friend.
Yeah. That sounds like a good title for a book. Don't you think so?
Conflict can be your friend. It
Yes.
probably is a book title.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't know this about me, but I have been living here for almost 30 years.
Okay.
I have to move in January, and I have thousands of books.
Wow. Oh, wow.
There is not a day that goes by that I don't cozy up to one of my many bookcases
Okay.
and look at them and go, okay, which ones can go? And boy, oh boy, is this hard.
It's hard.
Yeah, I'm doing some videos on it, where I pick up
Okay.
a book and say, let me tell you about this book and what I learned.
Yeah.
Because I don't I am giving somebody was here just the other day and took away 3 bags.
Oh, wow.
Well, because I'm going through every weekend, I'm going through it. Actually, every night I pick a few books and go, do I can I keep these or can I give them away? And what's so interesting is once you start pick up a book, in my case, because I write in my books and I use highlighters, what's
Okay.
so interesting is I'm drawn right back into these books. Whoop, they're sucking me right back because they're so wonderful. There's so much wisdom.
So you should keep some books for me too.
Oh, I'd
So
be
let's
happy to. What
continue.
kinds would you like?
All right. So, how do you stay updated with the latest trends and best practices in customer care and leadership? And what resources do you recommend?
Wow.
We just
Um,
talked about books. So,
Well, LinkedIn has been quite the source. I spend a fair amount of time, as I'm sure you do, on LinkedIn.
okay.
Uh, so I still go, I go to workshops every week. Now, they're not necessarily these days about customer care.
Yeah.
They're mostly these days about people issues, um, performance issues, trends, what's happening, who's successful. I went this last week, I went to a morning workshop, which for me was a big deal because it happened at 8 o'clock my time. But it was online with Nick
Okay.
Marks, who is in
Excellent.
England and just wrote a book called Happiness is a Serious Business. So I wasn't going to miss that. So I got up and went. That was the first thing I did that day because I really know he's one of the world's best researchers and statisticians. And I just finished writing a newsletter today that'll go out tomorrow that talks about what he talked about with the advantages of happiness in your business. So I do most of it. I honestly had to stop buying books. And it drove me crazy today because a teacher of mine who I adore has a brand new book, and I'd really like to buy the book, but it seems foolish to do that at the moment. I've been buying ebooks, but I don't really like reading ebooks.
Yeah. You want to feel the book and read it.
I do. I'm a very tactile person. How do you keep up with what's happening in the field? I don't consider myself in that field, right? I'm in the field of leadership. But so how do you keep up with what's happening in the customer experience world and in the customer care space? How are you keeping up with that?
Is a question for me?
That's a question for you. Sorry.
How am I keeping up with?
With the trends, with what's happening in the
Well,
customer care space.
yeah, you just have to learn along or you become history.
Well, that's true.
You just have to learn along. I mean, everything goes very, very fast.
True. Yeah,
You
yeah,
just have to learn along. I mean, we're talking about AI now. We talked about chatbots in the past, not too long ago. We're talking about AI, we're talking about Chat GPT, we're talking about there's just so many of them, OpenAI and the rest of them. And
yeah.
all this affect the way we do business with our customers. If we're not smart enough to catch them right now, our customers will just move to our competitors. That's just basic. So we have to learn along and learn fast too.
And fast.
Yes.
Because it's
We just
moving
have to
so
be
quickly.
fast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really moving so quickly. And I just read something the other day, and I can't tell you what company it was, but they just replaced all their customer service people with AI.
Look at that. Look at that.
The thing is, I think it depends on the customer. I am not a customer that wants to do business with a chatbot.
Yeah, again, it depends on the type
Depends
of
on the
business
customer and the
and the
business.
type of business.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. If it's something simple and I can do it myself and I can do it fast, that's great. But if I
Yeah.
need help, I am frustrated beyond belief what it actually takes to get customer care help these days.
But it would be interesting, really, to know the kind of business that had to, uh, you know, bring in AI in place of their customer service people. What business is that?
I don't remember. I just read it the
Okay.
other day. I just read it maybe 2 days ago, but I don't remember.
Yeah, it would be nice to know that kind of business, you know. I mean, because at the end of it all, human interaction is very, very important.
Very important.
Very,
Very,
very important. I mean, you are in Florida, I'm in Houston, I'm talking to you, and I mean, it's as if you're just sitting beside me right here.
I know.
So, but when it's just listening to somebody's voice and not seeing that image, it's not the same. The connection is not there.
Yeah.
It's not
Well, it's
there.
not there. It's not there for us. I do understand from younger people that they would rather do something remotely on their phone without human interaction as opposed to a bulky, ineffective, I can't get through to you on, because a lot of what's happened is that customer service has changed pre-bot, pre-artificial
Yeah.
intelligence. But what
Yeah.
they put in there instead is 15 layers of a menu that you have to walk through before you can get a human being.
That's true.
So there's a level of frustration that the customer has that if you can give me my own menu, and I could get there quicker, then get out of my way. Because it's gotten to the point where I call it, I've written articles about it. I just say we're out of service. We're just simply out of service. You ought to just hang
Mhm.
a sign over our heads here that say out of, because we don't have good service in this country.
Yeah.
We don't.
I've also quarreled about the headsets. I don't like the headsets because
What?
the headsets, you talked about the headsets. I don't like the headsets because it creates some confusion. Customer
Why?
service is not about headsets. It's bigger than that, you know.
Yeah, but how could a customer service rep comfortably handle so much of volume if they didn't have a headset on? I lost your
Via
volume.
email,
Okay.
because that symbol, that's what I think. I mean, it's personal. That thing makes the whole thing look so simplistic
Huh.
because customer service is bigger than headsets. And I'm actually going to write, an article on it very soon.
Uh-huh.
Because you find out that some people the younger ones that are in customer service schools, they don't know what to do. They just see customer service training as, okay, when I come out, I'm going to work as a receptionist because that is the symbol we have given.
Hmm.
So it's not
Interesting.
just about answering calls and resolving complaints. That's not all what customer service is all about. It's bigger than that.
I'm not sure about the connection that you're making though with the headset.
No, you said something about headsets. I think I heard you say something about headsets. So I was saying
Hmm.
that the idea of headsets representing customer service is one thing I do
Oh,
not
oh,
personally like.
I see what you're talking. I see what you're
Yeah,
talking about. The little symbols that we use to represent this.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
gotcha. Yeah. I
So
will.
let's go ahead.
Sure.
So can you describe a time when you had to innovate or adapt your approach to customer care or leadership in response to changing circumstances?
Hmm. Well, I think that happens all the time. Because
Yeah.
the changing circumstances are happening so quickly. I think the biggest turn for me was when I was inside companies working with customer service teams.
Mhm.
I got at like a flash one day that the service the customer gets is going to be determined by the experience the rep has.
Correct.
Because I kept hearing across a number of different companies at a number of different times this phrase: how come they never notice when I do something right, but when I do something wrong, they're all over me? And often at the end of that sentence was in front of others.
In front of others.
Yeah. So what that led me to believe was that the larger problem was a leadership problem. And that's when I began throwing myself into the study of leadership because those people don't have a chance if, when they do something wrong, somebody embarrasses them in front of the whole group. They're never going to feel good about their job. If you don't feel good
No,
about your job, it's really hard to present that
no,
smiling face on the other end of the
no,
phone. you know? So that was a huge red flag for me that really changed the trajectory of my business. I had already started studying happiness. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. So, but I had no idea. And then, of course, I realized that happiness was the answer to how do we create a happier workplace. And in rolled up in that is how are we respectful of others? And how are we as leaders willing to coach people along without having to do that to them, without embarrassing them? That's a very old model.
Yeah.
So for me, that was
So,
big, 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 big.
yeah. So happiness should start from the top echelon of the organization.
Yeah,
You
actually.
have to believe in it,
Yes.
you have to live it,
Yes.
and then drive it down to, I mean, across the channels of the organization.
Yeah.
Because if you're happy and you're asking me, and you're protecting me when I have an interaction with a customer,
Mhm.
I'll be very, very happy. And you would know what to do to continue to encourage me to put my best foot forward for the
Mhm.
customer.
Mhm.
But if you embarrass me in front of customers,
Oh, oh,
that's
that's the
awful.
worst. That
That's
is the
awful.
worst. Well, hopefully that's old fashioned and it won't come back around again into fashion.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's hard to say what's going to happen next. It's hard to say what's going to happen next. I wonder sometimes somebody out of the US coming into the US the way you did, what you're thinking about the mess we're in. But we're not going to talk about that here.
Well, you may think you're in a mess until you see how it happens elsewhere.
Well, and that's a very good point. That's actually a very, very, very good point.
Yeah.
Everything is relative to the situation that we are in. So depending on the paradigm you're living in at that moment, it could be very different. Could be very different. Because I know that was a culture shock for you when you came here to this country?
Well, the very first time, which was years back, certainly, yes, it was.
Yeah,
Certainly. But as time went on, I acclimatized.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm sure you have.
yeah. And finally, Joanna, what legacy do you hope to leave as a leader? And how do you want to be remembered by your team and customers?
The happiness lady? I don't know. Um, I think here's the legacy I want to leave. Um, when I was in the corporate world, I would go home at night. There was nothing left to me. I gave and I gave and I gave and I gave all day long, but I didn't get back the energy. So when I got home, I was depleted. So my goal is to help create the kind of positive climate, the positive environments where people get an energy gain rather than an energy drain. So that when they go home at night, they're feeling proud, they're feeling happy that they had a good day. And even if they didn't have a good day, they're feeling proud and happy about the way they handled the day they had. And they reflect back on that and go home to their families and, just are in a positive state. Too many people come home without energy for their kids and their loved ones and their hobbies and the things that make life worthwhile. And I don't think that corporations have the right to steal that from them. So for my legacy will be going home at the end of the day with some energy, having some positive energy gains, leaving the energy drains behind, and people saying things like some of my clients, I love my job. Oh, I love being with these people. I love the conversations we have. I love the clients. When you're fostering that kind of environment, it makes it good for everybody, and that that energy travels. So you know that the positive energy that your people are giving out are going to two or three or even four more people because the sorry about that, because emotions travel.
Yeah.
So that's where I want my legacy to be, is that people realize that if I take care of myself and I can be happy at work and be happy with others and work with others, other people in my community are going to benefit.
Thank you so much, Joanna.
Thank
It's
you.
been nice listening to the value you churned out today. Indeed, you are a high energy speaker.
Oh, thank you.
Continue to be exceptional in your business. And thank you so much
Oh,
for being our guest today.
you're very welcome. And I call all of this the positive spillover effect. So it's
Correct.
got a word. Lovely.
That's what.
And if anybody in your audience is interested, my website is returnonhappiness.com.
Okay.
And if you go to returnonhappiness.com/happy work, you can get a special report,
All right.
which is waiting there right for your listeners right now.
Thank you so much, Joanna.
This was fun. This was fun. And how long have we known each other, Effie?
Since 2004.
And you were such a champion of the customer care coach.
We were talking about 23 years. That's a long
23 years
time.
we know each
That's a
other?
long, yeah.
That's a whole human being. That's a whole
Yes.
lifetime.
Yes.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations to you that you have not wavered in all of these years in your devotion and dedication to customer care. You're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Well.